You want to know the truth about what happened on Station Vergal 7? Fine. Pull up a seat, get comfortable, and try not to scream when I tell you how one single human turned 1,000 of our best soldiers into a historical footnote. And when I say footnote, I mean the kind historians whisper about in dark corners, the kind that makes military academies go quiet. My name is Tharvik, and I was there. I survived. Lucky me, right? Let me set the scene for you. Station Vergal 7 was a trading hub, neutral territory, where dozens of species conducted business without the usual territorial nonsense. We had Krillians with their 6 arms, Morphids who could barely fit through standard doorways, even a few of those prissy Veltorians who complained about everything. And humans. Always humans, poking their soft little faces into every corner of the galaxy. This particular human's name was Marcus Vale. An unremarkable name, really, not threatening at all. He stood maybe 6 feet tall, brown hair, brown eyes, the kind of generic appearance that made you forget him 30 seconds after walking past. He worked as a cargo inspector, checking shipments, filling out digital forms, being generally boring. We should have paid more attention to the boring ones. I was serving under Commander Zelthos back then, part of the Confederation Security Force, and picture this, we were the elite, the best trained fighting force in 7 sectors. Our armor could withstand plasma fire, our weapons could punch through starship hulls, and our tactical training was second to none. We were scary. We knew it. Everyone knew it. The day everything went wrong started like any other cycle. I was running patrol through Sector 9, the commercial district, when the alarms started screaming. Not the gentle something minor is wrong chime. No, this was the full apocalyptic everyone is going to die wail that made your spinal ridge freeze. All units respond to Central Command. Zelthos barked through the comm system. Hostile takeover in progress. Repeat, hostile takeover. Hostile takeover? On Vergal 7? That was like declaring war on a library. Nobody attacked neutral stations unless they had a death wish or enough firepower to flatten the moon. Turns out they had both. The Razkor Collective, those delightful psychopaths from the Outer Rim, had decided that neutral territory was just a suggestion. 300 of their shock troops had breached the station, armed to the teeth, demanding control of the facility and access to all the trade routes. They had hostages, bombs planted on critical systems, and enough ammunition to fight for days. Commander Zelthos assembled us in the main barracks. 1,000 soldiers, fully armed, ready to take back our station. We were professionals. We had trained for this exact scenario dozens of times. The Razkor might have been vicious, but they were outnumbered more than 3 to 1. This is going to be a clean operation, Zelthos announced, his 3 eyes scanning our ranks. We move in, secure the hostages, neutralize the threats. Standard breach and clear. Questions. Someone near the back raised a tentacle. Sir, what about the civilians? Evacuation is already underway. Security teams are moving non-combatants to the emergency shelters. We handle the Razkor. Everyone else stays out of our way. Simple. Straightforward. What could go wrong? Everything. Everything could go wrong. We moved through the station in formation, weapons ready, scanning every corner. The Razkor had fortified Central Command, turning it into a proper stronghold. They had barrier shields, automated turrets, the works. But we had numbers, training, and enough firepower to make them regret ever leaving their ships. The first assault wave hit them hard. Plasma bolts lit up the corridor like a light show. Razkor troops fell back, taking casualties, exactly as expected. We pushed forward, breach teams clearing rooms, securing positions. By all tactical measurements, we were winning. Then someone mentioned the human. Sir, one of our scouts reported, we have a civilian refusing evacuation. Human male, Sector 12, near the cargo bays. He says he is not leaving. Zelthos made that clicking sound he always did when annoyed. And drag him to the shelters. We do not have time for this. Sir, he says he can help. Help? He is a cargo inspector. What is he going to do? File a report at them? get him out of there. But here is the thing about humans: they do not follow logical instructions very well, especially when they decide something is their business. Marcus Vale was standing in corridor 7-B, arms crossed, looking about as threatening as a juvenile fluffnoid. He had changed out of his inspector uniform and was wearing what humans call casual clothes. Pants, shirt, jacket. Nothing special. Nothing tactical. He looked like he was going out for a meal, not preparing for combat. "Sir," I said, approaching him cautiously. "I was part of the team sent to escort him away. You need to evacuate. This area is not safe." He looked at me with those disturbingly calm brown eyes. "I know." "Then why are you still here?" "Because I work here." He said it like that explained everything. My partner, a Krillian named Vexor, stepped forward. "Human, there are 300 hostile combatants trying to take over this station. Our forces are engaging them now. You will die if you stay." Marcus smiled. Actually smiled. Probably not. "We do not have time for this," Vexor snapped, reaching for Marcus with two of his arms. "You are coming with us by force if necessary." That is, when Marcus moved. I had seen humans fight before. They were decent enough, strong for their size, surprisingly resilient. But they were not fast. They were not trained combat specialists. They were soft-skinned, fragile things that broke easily. Except Marcus Vale apparently did not read that manual. He stepped inside Vexor's reach, twisted, and suddenly my partner was airborne. Not floating, flying. Marcus had used Vexor's own momentum to flip him completely over, slamming him into the deck plating with a sound that made me wince. Then he looked at me. Just looked. Not threatening, not aggressive. Just waiting to see what I would do. I raised my hands. "I am not grabbing you." "Smart," Marcus said. He helped Vexor up, who was making gasping sounds and checking to make sure all 6 arms still worked. "Look, I appreciate the concern, really. But I need you to listen carefully. Those Razkor troops? They are not here for the station." "What are you talking about?" I asked. "They have made demands, they have hostages." "They are a distraction," Marcus said flatly. "The real threat is in the cargo bay. Bay 17 specifically. I inspected a shipment 3 cycles ago that did not match the manifests. I flagged it, filed a report, got told to mind my own business. But that shipment is still there. And I am willing to bet everything I own that it is why the Razkor are really here." Vexor was recovering now, looking at Marcus like he had grown extra heads. "You think there is something in the cargo bay worth starting a war over?" "Not worth starting a war," Marcus corrected. "Worth ending one. I need to check that bay. If I am right, you have got about 20 minutes before this whole station becomes a debris field." I should have called Exelthos. I should have reported this immediately. Instead, I made a decision that probably saved my life and definitely earned me 3 months of disciplinary review. "Show us," I said. We moved fast, staying low, avoiding the main combat zones. Marcus led the way, and I noticed something odd. He moved like a soldier. Not military exactly, but practiced. Efficient. He checked corners, listened for movement, used hand signals without being told. "Human," I said quietly as we ran, "what is your actual job?" "Cargo inspector," he replied without looking back. "And before that?" He glanced over his shoulder, that smile back again. "Also cargo inspector." He was lying. Obviously lying. But we had bigger problems. Bay 17 was locked down, heavy security doors sealed tight. Marcus pulled out what looked like a standard access tablet and pressed it against the control panel. The doors opened immediately. "How did you do that?" Vexor demanded. "I inspect cargo," Marcus said. "That means I need access to cargo bays. Are we going to stand here talking, or are we going to see what is worth killing 1,000 people over?" The bay was massive, filled with containers of various sizes. Standard procedure was to scan everything, But Marcus walked straight to a specific container like he had memorized its location. Maybe he had. He pulled open the manual override, and the container door swung wide. Inside were bombs. Not just any bombs. Antimatter charges. 50 of them, each powerful enough to vaporize a city block. Together, they could crack the station apart and kill everyone on board. "Oh, that is not good," Vexor whispered. "That is the understatement of the cycle," I added. Marcus was already examining the devices, his face grim. "They are on a timer. Remote detonation disabled, probably so the Razkor could not accidentally trigger them during the attack. But the timer is active. 14 minutes, 20 seconds. Can you disarm them?" I asked, already knowing the answer would be complicated. "Maybe. These are military-grade, triple redundant failsafes. If I make one mistake, they all go off immediately. Then we evacuate," Vexor said, backing toward the door. "We get everyone off the station, abandon it, let them blow." Marcus shook his head. "These are not just bombs. Look at the yield ratings. These are planet crackers. If they go off, the explosion will take out every ship within 5,000 kilometers. The evacuation vessels, the Razkor ships, everything. Tens of thousands of casualties." I felt my stomach drop. "We need to call Commander Zelthos." "No time," Marcus said, pulling tools from his jacket. Where had he been hiding those? He is busy fighting a fake war. By the time we explain, convince him, and get experts here, we will all be atoms. "So what do we do?" I demanded. Marcus looked at me, and for the first time I saw something dangerous in his eyes. Something cold and calculating. "You two are going to go back to your unit and tell them about these bombs. Get everyone evacuating now. Emergency protocols, no arguments." "What are you going to do?" "I am going to have a conversation with some Razkor," Marcus said. "And then I am going to disarm these bombs." "You cannot do both," Vexor protested. "Watch me." I should have argued. I should have insisted we help. But something in Marcus Vale's voice told me arguing would be pointless. We ran. Getting back to Commander Zelthos while avoiding combat zones was nightmarish, but we made it. I burst into the tactical command post, probably looking insane. "Sir, the cargo bay. There are antimatter bombs, dozens of them, 13 minutes until detonation." Zelthos stared at me like I had started speaking in a dead language. "What are you talking about?" I explained everything, fast, probably incoherent. Vexor backed me up, showing footage from his helmet camera. The commander's 3 eyes went wide. "Evacuate," he said immediately, his voice cutting through the chaos. "All units, immediate evacuation protocol. This is not a drill. Everyone to the emergency vessels now." The fighting stopped. Not because the Razkor surrendered, but because suddenly everyone realized they were standing inside a giant bomb. Confederation forces pulled back, Razkor troops looked confused, and the stampede toward escape pods began. "What about the human?" someone asked. Zelthos looked at me. I looked at the timer on my display. 7 minutes. He said he would disarm them, I said weakly. "One human is going to disarm 50 antimatter bombs in 11 minutes, Zelthos said slowly. "Do you realize how insane that sounds?" "Yes, sir." "Yes, sir." "And you left him there alone." "He ordered us to evacuate, sir." Zelthos made that clicking sound again, louder this time. "Ancestors preserve us. Someone get me a comm link to that cargo bay now." They established the link. Static. Then Marcus's voice came through, calm as morning light. "Kind of busy here, Commander?" "Human, what is your status?" "Well, I have got 47 more bombs to disarm, about 10 minutes to do it. And I am currently having a discussion with some very angry Razkor who just realized their plan failed." Gunfire erupted in the background. Actual gunfire. On an antimatter bomb site. "Are you insane?" Zelthos roared. You are shooting weapons near antimatter charges. They started it, Marcus replied. The sound of something heavy hitting something else echoed through the comm. I am just finishing it. Go ahead and evacuate, Commander. I will catch up. We cannot leave you there. Sure you can. It is easy. You just get on ships and fly away. I have done it dozens of times. More gunfire. Something exploded, not antimatter thankfully, but big enough to rattle the comm system. How many Razkor are with you? I asked, unable to stop myself. Started with 20, Marcus said conversationally. I heard the distinct sound of someone screaming, then silence. Down to 15 now. Make that 14. Razkor and I exchanged looks. He had been disarming bombs and fighting Razkor simultaneously. Human, listen to me, Selthos said, his voice taking on that command tone that made everyone straighten up. We are sending a team back to assist you. Negative, Commander. This bay is compromised. One stray shot hits the wrong bomb. We all become history. I can handle this. You cannot disarm 50 bombs and fight trained soldiers at the same time. I am a great multitasker. The timer hit 8 minutes. We should have left. Following protocol, following orders, we should have boarded evacuation ships and launched. But something kept us listening to that comm channel, hearing Marcus Vale calmly work through what should have been an impossible situation. 7 bombs down, he reported. 43 to go. Timer at 7 minutes, 30 seconds. These Razkor guys really do not want me touching their toys. How many are left? Selthos asked. Razkor? Maybe 10. They are spreading out, trying to flank me. Smart tactics. Wrong opponent. A Razkor voice suddenly cut through the channel, speaking in their harsh dialect. Human. Surrender now. You cannot win. We have you surrounded. Marcus laughed. Actually laughed, yeah? You and what army? Oh wait, you are the army. Well, this is awkward. What happened next I only know from the audio recording and the later investigation. But I will never forget hearing it happen in real time. Marcus Vale stopped being a cargo inspector. He became something else entirely. The sounds that came through that comm channel, they were not normal combat sounds. They were precise, brutal, efficient. Razkor soldiers screamed. Weapons fired and were cut short. Something heavy crashed repeatedly, rhythmic, purposeful. And through it all, Marcus kept working on the bombs. 15 down, he said, breathing harder now. 6 minutes. Razkor count at, let me check, 5. No, 4. Sorry, Dave. Wrong place, wrong time. Dave? I whispered to Vexor. He named one of them Dave? I think the human is insane, Vexor replied. Selthos was coordinating the evacuation, but kept the channel open. Human, our ships are launching. You need to get to an escape pod. Little busy, Commander. These bombs are not going to disarm themselves. Actually, wait, they might if I know. That would make them explode faster. Never mind. 4 minutes. 25 bombs down, Marcus reported. These Razkor are persistent. They keep trying to stop me. It is almost admirable. Almost? A Razkor voice snarled. We will kill you, human. You cannot defeat us all. You started with 20 guys, Marcus said. You are down to 3. And I am still disarming bombs. How exactly is this going for you? The Razkor screamed something incomprehensible and charged. I know this because the helmet camera of one of the last evacuation teams caught a glimpse through a viewport into the cargo bay. What they saw has become legend. Marcus Vale, one human, surrounded by disarmed antimatter bombs, facing down the last 3 Razkor soldiers. He was not wearing armor. He was not carrying military weapons. He had a simple plasma cutter in one hand, used for opening cargo containers, and what looked like a crowbar in the other. The Razkor had military-grade assault rifles. It should not have been a contest. It was not. Marcus moved like water, like shadow, like something that had studied violence as an art form and mastered every brush stroke. The Razkor fired, and he was not there. They tried to track him, and he was behind them. They attempted to coordinate, and he was already inside their formation, turning their numbers against them. 30 seconds later, all 3 Razkor were on the ground, and Marcus was back at the bombs. 40 bombs down, he said, voice steady. 2 minutes, 10 remaining charges. This is going to be close. The last evacuation ship was launching. Selthos was being physically dragged onto the vessel by his subordinates. I was with them, Vexor beside me, both of us unable to look away from the comm display. Human, Selthos said, his voice raw. You need to leave. Now. You have done enough. Almost there, Commander. Just give me 90 more seconds. 1 minute, 30 seconds on the timer. 45 down. 1 minute. 48 down. 30 seconds. 49. Our ship was pulling away from the station. I could see Vergal 7 growing smaller through the viewport, that massive structure that had been my home for 2 years, about to become a memory. 15 seconds. Last one, Marcus said. His voice was different now. Focused. Absolute. 10 seconds. Silence. Silence. 5 seconds. Done. 4 seconds. Bombs disarmed. Station secure. Also, I may have made a mess in the cargo bay. Someone is going to need to clean that up. 3 seconds. The timer stopped. The comm channel went silent. Selthos was shaking, actually shaking. Human, are you still there? Still here, Commander. Give me a minute to catch my breath. Then I will grab an escape pod and meet you at the rendezvous point. Oh. And you might want to send a security team back for the Razkor survivors. There are about 270 of them locked in various compartments around the station. They gave up once they realized their backup plan failed. 270? Out of 300? What happened to the other 30? I asked before I could stop myself. Silence. Then Marcus said, very quietly, they chose a different path. We found out later what that meant. 20 Razkor had been in the cargo bay with Marcus. 20 trained soldiers, elite troops, experienced killers. None of them survived. The other 10 had tried to stop Marcus on his way to the bay. They also made poor choices. When investigators went through the station later, they found something interesting in Marcus Vale's personnel file. Or rather, what they did not find. His work history only went back 5 years. Before that, nothing. No records, no background, no history. It was like he had appeared from nowhere, taken a job as a cargo inspector, and lived quietly. Except he had not been quiet at all. He had been waiting. The Confederation Intelligence Division showed up 3 days later. They took Marcus away for questioning. He came back 6 hours later, smiling that same calm smile, and went back to inspecting cargo. When asked what they had discussed, Marcus simply said they wanted to make sure I was not a threat. And Exelthos had pressed. I assured them I only become a threat when someone tries to blow up my station. The official report listed the incident as hostile takeover attempt, thwarted by Confederation security forces. Minimal casualties. Station secured. Minimal casualties. 1,000 of us against 300 of them. We lost 15 soldiers. They lost 30. And 1 human did it all while disarming enough explosives to crack a planet. We started calling it the Vergal Massacre. Not because of what the Razkor did. Because of what Marcus Vale did. He was outnumbered 1,000 to 1. History still calls it a massacre. And now you know why. So, you think that is where the story ends? 1 human saves a station. Everyone goes home. Life returns to normal? Oh, you sweet, naive creature. That was just the opening act. The real fun started 3 weeks later when we realized Marcus Vale had not saved us at all. He had declared war. Let me back up. After the Vergal 7 incident, things got complicated. The Razkor Collective did not appreciate losing 300 soldiers, and having their grand plan exposed. Turns out those antimatter bombs were supposed to destroy the station and make it look like a reactor malfunction. Then they would swoop in, claim salvage rights, and control the entire trade route. Instead, they got humiliated by a cargo inspector and lost their best strike team. That kind of embarrassment demands a response in their culture, usually a violent one. Commander Selthos called me into his office 4 weeks after the incident. I walked in to find him staring at a holographic display, looking like he had not slept in days. Marcus Vale was sitting in the corner, eating what humans call a sandwich, acting like this was a casual social visit. "Tharvik," Selthos said without looking at me. "Tell me what you know about human military history." Odd question. "They fight a lot among themselves, sir. Thousands of wars, constant conflicts, never really stop. They are decent soldiers, stubborn in combat, high pain tolerance. Anything else?" I thought about it. They have this concept called mutually assured destruction. They built enough weapons to kill themselves dozens of times over, just to make sure nobody used them. It is insane. "It worked, though," Marcus said around a mouthful of sandwich. "We have not had a global war in over a century." Selthos finally looked at me. "Did you know that humans have a special forces tradition? Elite soldiers, trained for impossible missions, working in small teams or alone?" "I have heard rumors, sir." "Those rumors are all true," Selthos said grimly. "And I just received confirmation from Confederation intelligence. Our cargo inspector here is not exactly what he claimed to be." I looked at Marcus, who smiled and took another bite of his sandwich. "Human," I said slowly. "Who are you really?" "Marcus Vale, cargo inspector," he replied. "Been doing it for 5 years now. Before that, I was Marcus Vale, retired. Before that," he shrugged, "I did some other work." "What kind of work?" "Oh, the classified kind." Selthos pulled up a file on his display. Most of it was redacted, black bars covering entire paragraphs. What remained was terrifying. "Special Operations Command," Selthos read, 16 years active service. "Deployed to 43 conflict zones. Mission success rate, 98%. Was confirmed eliminations." He paused. "That number cannot be right." "It is low, actually," Marcus said. "Does not count indirect actions or team operations." I felt my scales go cold. "You were an assassin." "Technically, a direct action specialist." "You..." "Assassin sounds so dramatic." "What is the difference?" "Assassins work for money. I worked for my government." He finished his sandwich and wiped his hands. "Look, I retired 5 years ago. Clean break, honorable discharge, full pension. Took a job inspecting cargo because it was quiet, simple, safe. I was done with the other life." "Then why did you do what you did?" Selthos demanded. "You could have evacuated with everyone else. You could have let the station explode. Why risk your life?" Marcus looked at him like the answer was obvious. "Because I work here. This is my home. Those bombs would have killed tens of thousands of people, including my friends, my co-workers, innocent civilians. What kind of person walks away from that?" "A sane one," I muttered. "Yeah, well, sanity is overrated." Marcus stood up, stretching. "So, Commander, you called me here for a reason. What is going on?" Selthos pulled up another file. This one showed star charts, ship movements, intelligence reports. "The Razkor Collective has issued what they call a blood mark. It is a cultural death sentence. They have marked this station, and specifically you, for complete annihilation. They are sending their entire 6th Fleet. 200 warships, 50,000 soldiers. Enough firepower to turn Vergal 7 into dust." Silence filled the office. Even Marcus stopped smiling. "When?" he asked. 4 days. Maybe 5 if we are lucky." "Confederation response?" "A defense fleet is being scrambled, but it will take 6 days to arrive. We are on our own until then." I found my voice. "We need to evacuate. Completely." Everyone off the station, scatter to different systems, deny them any targets. Already in progress, Selthos confirmed. We can get most of the civilians out in 3 days. But the station itself, our supplies, our infrastructure, all of it will be destroyed. Vergal 7 will cease to exist. Marcus walked to the holographic display, studying the star charts. His eyes moved quickly, analyzing, calculating. That dangerous look was back, the one I had seen in the cargo bay. How many soldiers do we have? He asked. 985, Selthos replied. We lost 15 in the last attack, remember? Right. And how many of those are combat-ready, fully equipped, willing to fight? All of them. But human, we cannot hold off 50,000 soldiers with less than 1,000 defenders. The math does not work. Math is for accountants, Marcus said absently. He pulled up defensive schematics of the station, rotating the three-dimensional model, zooming into specific sections. This station was built on an old military outpost, right? Before it became a trading hub? Yes, 200 years ago. Most of the military systems were decommissioned or converted to civilian use. Most, not all. Marcus pointed to several sections of the station. These areas here, and here. They were weapons batteries. Rail guns, missile pods, the works. Are they still functional? Selthos checked his records. Partially. Maybe 30% operational. They have not been maintained in decades. We would need weeks to get them fully online. We do not need fully online. We need barely functional. Marcus continued studying the displays. What about the reactor? What about it? D. Can we overcharge it? Push it beyond safety limits? That would risk a meltdown. That is not what I asked. Selthos stared at Marcus, like he was seeing a completely different person. Yes, we could overcharge it. The excess energy would need to go somewhere or the whole system would explode. Perfect. Marcus smiled, and I realized why the Razkor had lost so badly. They had not been fighting a cargo inspector or even a soldier. They had been fighting something much worse, a human who had nothing left to lose and a very specific skill set. Commander, Marcus said, his voice taking on that calm, absolute tone, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? You want me to trust a retired assassin who has been lying about his identity for 5 years? Technically, I never lied. I just did not elaborate. Marcus turned to face us fully. Look, I understand your concern, but I know how to fight overwhelming odds. I have done it before. The Razkor are making a mistake. They think they are attacking a defenseless trading station. We are going to teach them otherwise. 1 human and less than 1,000 soldiers against 50,000, I said. That is not bravery, that is suicide. Yeah, Tharvik, buddy, you were there in the cargo bay. You heard what happened. Did that sound like suicide to you? That was 30 soldiers in a confined space. This is an entire fleet. Same principle, bigger stage. He looked at Selthos. Give me command of the defense. Not official, not public, just operational authority. Let me coordinate our forces, activate those old weapons, turn this station into something the Razkor will regret attacking. And if you fail? Selthos asked quietly. Then everyone evacuates and I stay behind to make sure the Razkor pay for the privilege of destroying an empty station. Either way, innocent people survive. That is the goal. Selthos was silent for a long moment. Then he did something that probably saved all our lives. He said yes. The next 3 days were chaos. Marcus went from cargo inspector to military commander so smoothly it was terrifying. He organized our soldiers into specialized teams, assigned everyone specific roles, started pulling up ancient defense protocols that had not been used in a century. He put me in charge of communications and intelligence. You survived the cargo bay because you listened instead of panicking, he explained. I need someone who can process information fast and relay it accurately. Think you can handle it? I nodded, too shocked to argue. Vexor got assigned to engineering. You are strong and you work well under pressure. I need those old weapons batteries online. I do not care if they are pretty, I just need them to shoot. The Krillians saluted with 4 arms simultaneously. Marcus worked like a machine, barely sleeping, eating on the move, coordinating dozens of teams at once. He personally inspected every defensive position, every weapon, every potential weak point. And he did it all while maintaining that calm, almost friendly demeanor that made you forget he was preparing for a war. On the second day, he called everyone together for a briefing. All 985 of us packed into the main assembly hall. "All right, listen up," Marcus said, his voice carrying across the crowd without shouting. "In approximately 48 hours, the Razkor 6th Fleet is going to arrive with the intention of wiping us out. They are angry, they are vengeful, and they have enough ships to make it happen. Any questions so far?" Silence. "Duh." "Good! Now, here is what they do not know. This station was built as a fortress. It has armor plating that can withstand direct hits from capital ship weapons. It has defensive batteries that, while old, can still punch through starship hulls. And it has something even better." He paused. "It has us," murmurs ran through the crowd. "The Razkor think they are attacking a soft target. They think we will run or surrender. They are wrong. We are going to make them regret every decision that brought them here. Not through stupidity or sacrifice, but through tactics, preparation. And the simple fact that we know this station better than anyone else." He pulled up a holographic display showing the station and the surrounding space. "Their fleet will arrive here in standard attack formation. They will expect us to either flee or hunker down for a siege. We are going to do neither. We are going to hit them first, hit them hard, and hit them in ways they will not see coming." A Veltorian officer raised a delicate hand. "How exactly do we hit a fleet of 200 warships?" Marcus grinned. "Creatively. Over the next 2 days, we prepared." And I started to understand why humans had been so successful as a species, despite being relatively fragile and technologically unremarkable. They did not fight fair. They did not believe in honorable combat or following expected patterns. They fought to win, using every advantage, every trick, every dirty tactic available. Marcus taught us all of them. We mined the approach vectors with improvised explosives made from industrial equipment. We set up false sensor readings to make our defense grid look weaker than it was. We positioned our limited weapons in overlapping fields of fire, creating kill zones that would shred smaller vessels. We even rigged entire sections of the station to explosively decompress on command, turning them into giant shotgun blasts. Remember, Marcus said during one planning session, we do not need to destroy their entire fleet. We just need to make it too expensive for them to continue. Make them question whether revenge is worth losing ship after ship. Break their will, and they will break. And if they do not break? Someone asked. Marcus looked at them with those cold, calculating eyes. Then we make them pay for every meter of station they take until there is nothing left to take. But they will break. Trust me. The Razkor fleet arrived exactly on schedule. 200 warships, just as intelligence predicted. They moved into attack formation, surrounding the station, preparing to unleash devastation. Commander Zelthos was coordinating from Central Command, but Marcus was running the actual defense from a secondary command post. I was with him, monitoring communications, trying not to panic as I watched hundreds of enemy ships take position. "Incoming transmission," I reported. "Razkor Fleet Commander wants to speak with us." "Put it through," Marcus said calmly. A holographic image appeared. The Razkor commander was massive, even for his species. Scarred, armored, radiating menace. Vergal 7 station, you are marked for destruction. Surrender now, and we will make your deaths quick. Resist, and we will make you suffer. Marcus stepped into view of the transmission. "Hi there. You must be really mad about what happened to your strike team. I get it. Losing 300 guys to one cargo inspector is embarrassing. The Razkor commander's eyes widened. You, the human. You are still here? Where else would I be? This is my home. Marcus crossed his arms. Look, I am going to make you an offer. Turn your fleet around, go home, and we will call it even. Nobody else needs to die today. The commander laughed, a harsh, grating sound. You think you can negotiate? You have no weapons, no defense, nothing? We will crush you. Yeah, see, that is where you are wrong. Marcus nodded to me. I activated the weapons systems. All of them. The ancient railguns that we had spent 2 days reactivating, the missile batteries that Vexor had jury-rigged, the energy weapons that should not have worked but somehow did. Every defensive weapon on the station came online simultaneously, targeting systems locking onto the Razkor fleet. The enemy's sensors must have gone crazy. As you can see, Marcus said pleasantly, we have some weapons after all. Now you can still leave, or we can do this the hard way. Your choice. The Razkor commander snarled, You are bluffing. Those systems are ancient. They cannot possibly function properly. Only one way to find out, Marcus replied. Then he cut the transmission and turned to me. Tharvik, fire solution on their flagship. Let us show them we are not bluffing. I designated the target. Vexor, down in engineering, charged the main railgun. It had not been fired in over 100 years. We had no idea if it would even work, or if it would explode and take out half the station. Marcus hit the firing button. The entire station shook. The railgun roared to life, magnetic coils accelerating a tungsten slug to a significant fraction of light speed. The projectile crossed the distance between us and the Razkor flagship in less than 2 seconds. It hit the flagship's shields and punched straight through them. The ship staggered, alarms blaring, as the slug tore through their armor plating and exited the other side. Their shields are down 20%, I reported, watching the sensor data in amazement. Direct hit, structural damage to 3 decks. Marcus nodded. Good. Now they know we can hurt them. Send a message to their commander, last chance to leave. They did not leave. They attacked. What followed was the most terrifying 3 hours of my life. 200 warships against 1 station. The space around Vergal 7 lit up like a star-going supernova. Plasma bolts, missiles, energy beams, all of it converging on our position. But Marcus had prepared us well. Our shields held under the initial barrage. Our weapons fired back, targeting the smaller ships first, destroying frigates and destroyers with concentrated fire. The mines we had planted detonated, catching a dozen ships in the outer formation. And Marcus coordinated it all like he was conducting an orchestra. Battery 3, target that cruiser. Battery 7, cover the approach vector. Engineering, I need those shields reinforced. Now. The Razkor pushed forward, trying to overwhelm us with sheer numbers. They sent boarding parties in assault shuttles, trying to land troops on the station's hull. We decompressed entire sections, venting them into space, turning their landing zones into death traps. They adapted, sending more ships, coordinating their attacks. We adapted faster. Marcus had taught our soldiers something humans called asymmetric warfare, and we did not fight like the Razkor expected. We used every dirty trick, every unexpected tactic. We rigged damaged sections to explode when enemy troops entered. We used civilian equipment as weapons. We turned our own infrastructure into a weapon. Their fleet is pulling back, Vexor reported after 2 hours. They have lost 43 ships. They are regrouping. Good, Marcus said. He looked tired now, sweat on his face, but his eyes were still sharp. That is exactly what I wanted. Tharvik, open a channel to their commander. The hologram appeared again. The Razkor commander looked furious and shocked. How? How are you doing this? You made a mistake, Marcus said simply. You thought we were prey. But we have been preparing for this fight since you issued that blood mark. Every weapon, every tactic, every trick. We knew you were coming and we made you pay for it. We still outnumber you." "You did," Marcus corrected. "Now you have 157 ships against a fully armed fortress station, and reinforcements are coming. Confederation Defense Fleet arrives in 18 hours. So you can keep fighting, keep losing ships, and be trapped here when our backup arrives. Or you can leave now while you still have a fleet." The Razkor commander was silent, calculating. His culture valued strength, respected power, and Marcus had just demonstrated both. "This is not over, human," the commander finally said. "It is if you want it to be," Marcus replied. "Walk away. There is no shame in recognizing a bad situation." I watched the sensor displays, holding my breath. The Razkor fleet was repositioning. For a moment I thought they were preparing for another attack. Then they started activating their jump drives. They were leaving. One by one, the Razkor ships disappeared, jumping to hyperspace, retreating. Within 15 minutes, they were all gone. The station fell silent. No alarms, no weapons fired, just the quiet hum of life support systems. Marcus slumped into a chair. "Someone get me a sandwich, and maybe some coffee. I am exhausted." The entire command center erupted. Soldiers were cheering, hugging each other, celebrating the impossible victory. We had held off an entire fleet. Less than 1,000 defenders against 50,000 attackers. And we won. Won! Commander Zelthos arrived minutes later, looking like he had witnessed a miracle. "Human, what you did today, that was impossible." "Improbable," Marcus corrected. "Impossible would mean it did not happen. We just proved it could be done. You destroyed 43 enemy warships and drove off the rest." The analysts are saying this is going to change military doctrine across the entire Confederation. One station, minimal crew, holding off a full assault fleet. Good tactics, good preparation, and a lot of luck, Marcus said modestly. Also helps that the Razkor were overconfident. They expected easy prey. We showed them otherwise. I sat down next to him, still shaking from adrenaline. "You knew they would retreat. You planned for it. Hoped for it," Marcus corrected. "The goal was never to win a fight. It was to make them question whether the fight was worth having. Break their momentum, make them doubt, give them an exit option. Most people will take it if you offer them a way out that saves face. Most people are not Razkor. True, but even Razkor commanders have to answer to their superiors. Losing 43 ships for no gain? That is career-ending." He chose survival over revenge. Marcus stood up slowly. "Now, if you will excuse me, I need to go file about 600 incident reports. Because apparently saving a station does not exempt you from paperwork." The Confederation Defense Fleet arrived the next day. They found Vergal 7 battered but standing, surrounded by debris from destroyed Razkor ships and one very tired cargo inspector filling out forms in his office. The story spread fast. Within a week, every species in the Confederation knew about the Vergal 7 defense. Within a month, military academies were studying the battle as a textbook example of defensive tactics. Within a year, it had become legend. They called it the Vergal Massacre. Not because of casualties, we had lost only 32 soldiers in the defense, but because of what it represented. One human, one station, against impossible odds. And the impossible odds lost. Marcus Vale never asked for recognition. He refused medals, declined promotions, turned down interview requests. And he went back to inspecting cargo, doing his job, living quietly. But everyone knew. The Razkor knew. The Confederation knew. And word spread to every corner of the galaxy. Humans were not to be underestimated. You want to know the real kicker? 3 months after the battle, I was reassigned to Confederation intelligence. They wanted someone who had witnessed Marcus in action, who could explain how one human had changed the strategic landscape of an entire sector. During my briefing, I asked the obvious question. How many others are there? How many humans like Marcus Vale, hiding in plain sight, pretending to be civilians? The intelligence officer looked at me with an expression I could not read. We do not know. Humans have been spreading through the galaxy for decades. They take jobs, settle down, live normal lives. Most of them are exactly what they appear to be: merchants, engineers, teachers, farmers. But some of them, a small percentage, they have backgrounds like Marcus, and we have no way of knowing who they are until situations like Vergal 7 force them to reveal themselves. That is terrifying, I said. That is humanity, the officer replied. They are peaceful until you give them a reason not to be. And when you do, you better hope you can survive what comes next. I think about that conversation a lot now. I think about Marcus, calmly eating a sandwich while planning the defense of a station. I think about how he moved through that cargo bay, efficient and unstoppable. I think about his smile, friendly and dangerous in equal measure. Mostly I think about the lesson the Razkor learned too late. They thought they were outnumbering us 1,000 to 1. They were right. It did not matter, because the one was Marcus Vale, and history still calls it a massacre. Epilogue. I saw Marcus one last time before I transferred to my new posting. He was in his office, inspecting manifests, drinking coffee from a mug that said "World's okayest inspector" in human script. "You are leaving?" he said without looking up. "Intelligence Division wants me for analysis work. Apparently surviving you makes me valuable." He smiled at that. "Congratulations. You will do well." "Marcus, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Why did you really stay? During that first attack with the bombs? You could have run. You had time. Why risk everything?" He finally looked up, those calm brown eyes meeting mine. "Because running was not an option. Not for me, not anymore. I spent 16 years of my life fighting, killing, doing things I am not proud of because someone told me it was necessary. When I retired, I promised myself that if I ever had to fight again, it would be for something that mattered, for people I cared about, for a home worth defending, and Vergal 7 was worth it. Vergal 7 had good people, honest work, and the best coffee in 3 sectors. Yes, it was worth it." He went back to his manifests. "Besides, someone has to keep these cargo shipments organized. Do you have any idea how much paperwork a station produces?" I laughed. I actually laughed. "Take care of yourself, Marcus Vale. You too, Tharvik. Try not to let intelligence turn you into a paranoid conspiracy theorist, but no promises." I left his office, left the station, began my new career. But I never forgot what I learned during those few weeks. Humans are dangerous, not because they are strong or fast or technologically superior. They are dangerous because they are stubborn, creative, and absolutely terrifying when defending something they love. The galaxy learned that lesson at Vergal 7. And the Razkor? They never came back.